Okay. Last time we just been done with the architecture of your MVC applications, where I just explained you about how you can create your how do you create your core application, mainly just focusing on the in-process and out-of-process models, right? How to create an in-process model and how to create a out-of-process application. Both the two things I just been shown you in-process and out-of-process. Okay, so in out-of-process, we are going to have a reverse proxy server, and the reverse proxy server will be taking care of all the things. Yeah. So today we'll just start with creating an MVC application. Let's create a project now. Yeah, guys. I want to create an MVC project. So we just go to coding from today onwards. Let's create an MVC project. So I said, you have different templates available, like web app template, MVC template, and also API template. And the fourth one is empty template. So today we'll see how to create an empty template and configure it like a MVC application. I create a new project. ASP.NET Core empty. Give a name for it, guys. Any name you like. I'm just giving the name as Core Test Project. Core Test Project. Location and the solution all same. And now come here. Just guys, choose 7.0 standard term support. Okay. Select 7.0 standard term support. In the notes, it's printed as 6.0. At the time, 6.0 is the latest. Now 7.0 is the latest. So that's what I'm saying. You select what? 7.0. Or otherwise, 5.0 out of support. 5.0 is out of support. So better I suggest you directly go with .NET 7.0. Better I'll say 6.0 or 7.0. That is much better. Choose .NET 6.0. What do you have? Long-term support. Either choose .NET 6.0 long-term support, or otherwise 7.0 standard term support. Okay, if at all you're going with a 5 also, well and good, 5. Okay, so if you go with 5 means, what is that? Out of support. Okay, I'll mention all the 3 options here. Option 5.0 out of support. Next, .NET 6 long-term support or 7.0. Select the checkbox, configure for HTTPS, and also do not use top level statements. Yeah, select the checkboxes, configure for HTTPS, and do not use top level statements. And click on create button. Okay. Next, if you're working with .NET 6.0 long-term support, as explained earlier, long-term support explained earlier generates a code in the program class without a namespace class and main method also. If you don't want to generate it like that after selecting the target, yeah, I already mentioned there, so I don't require this again separately. Already mentioned there only, do not use top level statement, so no need again. Okay, now, right now we have chosen a empty project. So we can configure it as an ASP.NET Core web app or web API or MVC application also. You can configure in any way you want now. Yes or not? To make it as an MVC application, do the following. So our plan is to make it as a MVC application, guys. Okay, let's click on the create button. If you want to make it as a MVC application, we need to call a method. What is it? Add controller with views. Remember, if it is a web app, add controllers, add Razor pages. I'm sorry, add Razor pages. If it is a web app, add controller, add Razor pages, MVC, web API, add controllers. So web app means add Razor pages. MVC means add controller with views. Web API means add controllers. We need to call the appropriate method. Already I explained you in the last week about all these things now. Okay, where to do? If you're working on 5.0, you're required to write this code in the startup.cs file under configure services method. Are you clear? If you are working with 6.0 and above, you're required to write in the program class about where above this particular statement. Before this statement, before this, whatever you write is, after this, what you write is configure. So we have opened a 7.0. So before that, I should write the appropriate code now. Are you clear? Say, guys, for you to understand, I've given you both the two things to you. If you're working with Core 5.0, open and write the below code under configure services method of the class services.add controller views. ASP.NET Core 6.0 and above 6.0 from 6.0 ASP.NET Core 6.0 and above, open program.cs file and write the below statements just above the statement where app is equals to builder.build. Yeah, above this one. Okay, you're required to write this particular code. How to write? Builder.services.add controller with views. Is that clear, all of you? So that's why for your understanding, both the two I just given you, if it is 5.0 as well as 6.0 also. Okay, next. Now under the configure method of startup class, use static where middleware should be added now. Are you clear? Okay, sorry. And above. Yeah, if you're working on 6.0, you need to write the same statement just below this line. What? App dot use static files. Use static files. That is the second thing what you're required to add. Okay, it is 5.0 and 6.0. This is what. Now, yeah. Now under program class, write the above statement just below the statement where app is equals to builder.build. Third change. What is the third one? If you are on 5.0, you're required to add the endpoint routing now. Are you required to use the endpoint routing now? If it is 6.0 and above also, same only. And above. Yeah, this is the line what we got. Remove it. And after that, add. this statement. Again, the same thing, guys. Delete the code that is present in use endpoints block and write the below code. Now in the above, now in the bottom of the program.cs file, we find a statement app.mapget. Comment it or delete it or write the below code. If it is 6.0, like this. 5.0, like this. See, read this point now. After all the above changes, our application is now in. So now we need to add www root, controller, models, and views folder as per our requirements. So let us add all the 4 folders under project from Solution Explorer. So it's an MVC project now. In an MVC project, what do you require? www root, controllers, models, views. No, it is a web API project. www root, controllers, views. Sorry, controller, models, no views. Okay, it is a web app project. www root, models, views. No need controllers. Depends. Now 4 folders are required for us. What are the 4? www root, controllers, models, and views. So I repeat all my changes again. First change. Above this line, you should add. Okay. Second change. Below this. Third change. You'll find one statement called app.mapget or something. Forgot it. App.mapget. Delete that and add this now. Routing. You're just trying to add the routing also here. Is it clear, all of you? Yes or not? So with this, you will be just ready for creating an MVC application. Now what you'll do is you create all the appropriate folders. Only open the Solution Explorer, right click, add folder, www root. Add folder, controllers, models, without all these headaches, the simplest option is take an MVC project. If you take an MVC project, all these are automatically going to be generated to you. You don't require to write anything manually again. Okay, now? So that's what we just have. So you need to configure up all the appropriate changes. To make an MVC application, do the following changes. Okay. So first thing, what you'll do? You will add the afterwards static file. Afterwards routing. Afterwards you require to define the routing pattern. Okay. So this is all what you're just going to do. Now add a control in the controls folder. Now let us add a controller, guys. You know how to add a controller. I don't require to tell you. Right click on the controllers, add same controller. I think I named a controller with the name called home controller. Right? Home controller. So MVC empty, same only again. So just go for MVC controller empty. Default, it is giving the name as home controller only. The default is giving the name as home controller only. Click on the add button, add the controller. What is the base class? Right click on it and say go to definition. Controller base. Same. All the same only. See, core are this one. Just going to be same, but namespaces will be different. Now, the controller is present for your namespace ASP.NET Core.MVC namespace. Earlier, Microsoft.web.mvc. Sorry, system.web.mvc. System.web.mvc. Now, ASP.NET Core.mvc. Namespace different, but we have the same classes here and all. Are you clear? Read this, everyone. Now let's add a new controller, choosing the option MVC controller empty under add new scope file item window, name it as home controller. If you observe, the parent class is home controller. Of the home controller is controller only, just like But this class is defined in Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC namespace. But in ASP.NET MVC, the control class is defined in system.web.MVC name. Namespaces are different, but that's it. Next. By default, we find an action method. What is the name, guys? Remember, in ASP.NET MVC 5, in MVC 5, what is the written type? Action result. By default, the written type is action result. Correct? Where action result is the parent class of all the results. View result, partial view result. But now, it's not action result, guys. I-action result. Where I-action result is an interface. That's it. Under that, we have all the classes again. What classes? View result, partial view result, JSON result. All the appropriate results are present. One difference, earlier it is a class, now it is a interface. Class name, action, interface name. Remember now, interface should prefix with I now. That's all. I action result. You can observe I action result. Okay. And this one basically, you see, the home control by default, we find an action method with the name index, and the return type of the method is I-action result, which is the parent of all the in an ASP.NET Core MVC application. Whereas in ASP.NET MVC application, the parent class is action result is a class action. Of all action results is a class that is action result class. For all the action results, it is the same thing only, action result. Now it is a interface. Now adding a view. I just want to add a view. Now right click on the index action method, which is present in the, and select the option add view. And the window open, choose raster view empty, and click on the add button, which will add a new view with the name index.html by creating a folder under the views folder with the name. Same story, same only. What will happen under the views? It will add your home folder. That's all. Come on, right click, add view, raster view empty, click add. Okay, asking for a name. Default is index.html. Click on the add button and now say add a folder index.html. And by default, there is no code here. Just let me write what. Home controller index view, run. And because we just choose an HTTPS, the SSL certificate installation message should come there. Yeah, you remember this one? I said you if you are working on Core 5.0, the default server is IS Express. If you're working from 6.0 and 7.0, the default is Kestrel. The default is Kestrel. You watch the Kestrel web server launched. The Kestrel web server launched. It has launched the Kestrel web server, and the port number is, you can see the address bar. Is it clear? Sir, can I change that? Yeah, you can, guys. Here change of na. Here just change of to IIS Express. Otherwise, host on IIS and change to IIS. Choice is yours. Now it won't launch you the Kestrel web server again. Kestrel is not launched. Anyhow, you launch Kestrel or don't launch Kestrel, anyhow it is in process only. In process only. Okay, now? Yeah. Now see the port number. HTTPS protocol 44347. See that. Now hit F5 and run the project, which will display a message box asking about SSL certificate because we have chosen configure. While creating the project, click on the yes button, which will display a security warning window asking for installing certificate on your machine. Okay, click yes button again, which will launch the browser and displays the output. Now, if you observe the URL browser's address bar, the protocol will be HTTPS. In ASP.NET Core 6.0 and above, the default web server Visual Studio uses to run the web app is Kestrel. And the port number used for HTTPS is Kestrel will be different, and for HTTP will be different. We can verify the ports used in launch settings.json file. You can even change the server by choosing a profile in debug target window that is present in standard toolbar. You can change that. You already know that the profile can be changed. Is that clear? Okay. The profile can be changed in the toolbar. You go there and change the profile. So default is Kestrel. That's what I'm telling you. That's all. You change the port, whatever you want. Okay, now? Fine. So here we define the route pattern anyhow in the home controller. See, sorry, program class route pattern. Home index. That's why if you look at the address bar, if you just point to the port number only, it will launch you the page. Open index. Why? All same again. Nothing new. Default controller is home. Default action method is index. All things are going to remain same. No changes for that. Okay. Now all of you are routing. Remember routing now? I explained about routing to you already in your MVC5 classes. Actually, routing, two types of routings are there. I shown only one routing, but two types of routings are there. One, conventional routing. Two, attribute routing. Routing is two types. One is conventional. Two is attribute routing. What is conventional routing? What I have shown you in your MVC5 is conventional routing. What I shown you in your MVC5 is conventional routing. What we are using now is also conventional routing only. Are you clearer? So in conventional routing, if your application is an MVC application, MVC5 application is an MVC5 application, we use a method called as map route, and we just configure the routing process. What is that, sir? Just a minute. Let us open our any of the old MVC project, guys. Any MVC project, not core, our old MVC5 project. This web API consumer is an MVC project only, na? Come on, let's open it. Here, all of you, open route config and verify. Here, we have configured the route by using a method called map route. Map route is a method which is used for configuring the route pattern. Here you defined the pattern. See, controller, action. I explained you. Suppose you want a static value like your company name here. This is a map pattern now. Where you define it? Under the route config with a method call. But in MVC core, we define it by calling a method called as map controller route. There it is map route. Here it is map controller route. Are you clearer or not? But look, both are same only. Here also controller action ID. Here also controller action ID. But here, this is a default controller name are again specified separately. But now they made it simple. Why separately again? There only you can give default values now. Directly. See, name is default here. Name is default here also. Pattern is controller action ID. Here also pattern and controller action ID. And here some default values are defined here. Here directly it is writing off. Controller home is the default. Index is the default. ID is optional. They are also same na. Controller home, action, index, ID option. Which one is simple? You're saying in core is simple now. Then compared with your MVC5. But pattern is same only, but they made it simple. Map route, map controller route. This is conventional routing. The second option what we have is attribute routing. What is attribute routing? Attribute routing means we specify the route pattern on the top of the action method actually. We specify the route pattern on the top of the action method. Are you clear? In this process, I can hide my controller name. I can hide my action method name from the user. I don't want to disclose the controller name to user. I don't want to disclose my action method name to the user. So if that is the case, we can do that in case of your attribute routing. Here, you cannot change the names now. The sequence should follow controller name, action method name. Tomorrow I want to change the controller name. I want to hide the controller name from user now. Home is my controller name, but I want to show it as a test. Index is the action method, but I want to show it as demo. Not possible in conventional routing, but possible if you go with the second routing pattern called as attribute routing. Guys, I'm telling you, we have attribute routing in MVC 5 also. I did not explain you there. I'm explaining you here, but if you want, you can try the same thing in MVC 5 also. Are you clear? If you want to use attribute routing, you should not use this method. This is for conventional routing. So if you want to use attribute routing in MVC 5, you should call the method map MVC attribute routes. Here you should call, see, route type conventional. Method to use here, map route. Already shown you this now. Next, if you want to use attribute, means you comment this one, guys. First I'm showing in MVC 5. Comment this, call routes dot map. No need to call anything, just that's all. I want attribute routing. Pattern, we don't specify here. We specify that on the top of the action method. On the top of the action method, we specify that. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or not? If you're working on core, what to do? Same, comment it. Now call app dot. Now I'm using what? An attribute routing. Okay. So I will show you how to use, but just you can have a look. Routing is responsible for matching incoming HTTP request and then dispatching those requests to the application executable endpoints. Endpoints are the application units of executable request handling code, which are defined in the application and configured when the application starts. The endpoint matching process can extract values from the request URL and provide those values to the request processing. All ASP.NET Core templates include routing in their generated code. Routing is registered in the middleware pipeline of startup class in ASP.NET Core 5.0 and program class in ASP.NET Core 6.0 and endpoints and above. Okay, that will be a correct word. And above. And above. Okay, so yeah. MVC supports two different types of routings. Conventional routing, attribute routing. Conventional is a pattern matching system per URL, which maps incoming request to a particular controller and action method. In conventional routing, we set all the routes in routeconfig.cs file for ASP.NET MVC by calling the method map route, whereas in ASP.NET Core MVC, we do that by calling map controller route method in startup class for ASP.NET Core 6.0 and program class for ASP.NET 6.0 and above. Okay, so what is that? In ASP.NET Core MVC, we do that by calling in startup class for Core 5.0 and program class for Core 6.0 and above. Okay, second, attribute routing. This is a simple routing mechanism compared with conventional routing. All the concepts here are just like the conventional approach only. But here we define route and attributes on a controller or action method. Okay, this was introduced in ASP.NET MVC 5 only. I did not teach you there, that's all. But it was introduced in MVC 5 and available in Core MVC. To use attribute routing in ASP.NET MVC 5, we need to call the method map in routeconfig.cs file, whereas in case of ASP.NET Core MVC, we need to call the method map in startup class per 5.0 and program class per 6.0 and above. Okay. Is that table clear? Yes or not? In MVC 5, what to use? In core, what to use? To test attribute routing, go to startup.cs file of our current project. That is core test project. That is the name of a project. Core test project. Okay. Delete the code which is implemented in earlier and then call map controls method over there and should now look as following. This is the old code, guys. Conventional. Change to this. For which one? 5.0. 6.0 and above. Is the old code? I already done. Map controllers. Okay. So I just shown you. Guys, I just given you code for both, but I'm showing you latest. Clear? I given you code for both, but I'm just showing you the latest. That's it. Note. After doing the above action, if you try to run index.csystem, we get an error. What error? Page not found. Because there is no route pattern defined anywhere now. There is no route pattern defined anywhere. Because there is no route pattern defined anywhere, if you try to run this code, it is going to throw you an error. Come on, watch. Not found. Even I try to type my controller name here, /home, /index. Error. The local page cannot be found. Error. Why, sir? No route pattern defined anywhere now. Are you clear? Then how to define the route pattern? You're required to define the route pattern on the top of your action method. You're required to define the route pattern on the top of the action method. Come on. Nothing to do here. Just in the program class, change of to attribute routing. Change of to attribute. No more. Nothing to do here. Leave it. Okay. Now all the things you're required to specify is only on the top of your action method or top of the controller class. Top of the action method or top of the controller class. So look, guys, when I try to give the URL, how to define the route here, you need to define the route here by using an attribute called route attribute, and you're required to write it. How? Route. And you're required to specify the route now. Per home/index. So this is how I require to write the route pattern. Home/index. All of you, watch it. Means when the user enters home and index, this method should be called now. Okay. So run. See, if I don't give any value, I'm not getting it here. /home, not getting it, but /index loaded the page. Did you understand me? Okay, /home, /. Sir, can't we get this when I give only /home? When I say /home, it has to load now. Oh, you want to load it like that? Yes. Okay, then. Simply writing home now. When the user gives a home, it has to launch it. See now. Nothing. I did not specify anything. I did not get anything. /home. Got it? /index. Both are working. Sir, root, why can't you make this to work? If I don't give anything else, it has to launch now. Understood? M testing. Okay, M testing also should launch. Means what? Just a domain name. Just a domain name. Got it? Next, /home /index. All three works. And guys, have a look. I just going to show you all the three. And given the URL also, how to try. Okay, na? For this one, this response. For this one, this response. For this one, this response. So the appropriate three will be responding for the three now. Okay. And guys, look. Read the note there. The above statements, when added on top of the action method, will be launching the view when we use the corresponding URLs. When we use the corresponding URLs, they'll be launching for us. We can even set attribute routing and controllers also. And to test this, write the below statement above the controller class, which should now look as following now. How do you write? Go to controller class and write this there. Home. Are you getting me? Yes or not? Okay, home. What you written is only home. Okay, just a second. Now, these patterns will change now. These patterns will change now. Why? We defined home here now. So this home is not required here. Are you getting me? Okay, so if I run this, if I don't give any URL, okay, not working, guys. But when I say /home, this is working. /index, not working. Why /home is working? That's what I'm telling you. All the route patterns will change now. All the route patterns will change. Array, home is already present now. So now what should I use is index only. Array, home is already present. What I should use is only index. So just watch. Now for this, nothing is responding. /home, you're getting it. /index, also working. What is working? This is working, guys. First one is working. Second one is not working. First one, that's what, just a minute. So right now, this one is index. This is home /index. Are you getting my point here? Okay, now I am commenting this one. I'm just commenting this one. What you have? Only home. /home. Not working, see? Array, that only I'm telling you, man. This is working. This is not working. Why? Why this? Already present here, na? Why you want this now? These two are working now. What? Just give home. It works. Index, this works. Are you clear? Okay, just watch it. Empty string means what will take? It will take home automatically now. Means if you don't specify anything, parent will come now. What is that? Home. Working, see. Next, home is there. Now, /index. Then how to make it work for this one? What is it? HTTP local stuff, it has to work. If that is the case now, the pattern is a bit different. You should write / there. Working, simply only /. This is for root. This is for home. This is for home /index. Just given all the three patterns, watch. In this case, we don't require using controller name by setting the route for index action method. And it should be as following. If you say / refers to the root, empty string. If you give empty string, automatically parent will come now. What is parent? Home. And that launch you. And if you say index, what is it? Home slash index. Home is from the parent now. Sorry, home is from the class. Now you're adding index for it. That's what it works. What doesn't work now? If you had home there, it won't work. Why? Home. Already you have a home there. Why you want another home on the bottom again? We don't require it now. Is that clear? So if you write it on the top of the controller, then on the top of the action method, you don't require to specify the controller name now. Is it clear? Okay. Well, this root is confusing only for one method only. Why? One method only can be configured now, not multiple methods. Remaining all methods should be controller action only. Or one method only, this confusion. For one method only, we have root level and controller. But remaining all compulsory controller name, action method name are mandatory. Na? For one method only, we have that confusion and flexibility. What method? Any method of your choice. Any method of your generally index method, which should be accessible directly to the root URL or /home. Rest of everything should be like that only. Home is already on the controller top now. Then you're required to write only the action name there. That's it. Next. In attribute routing, we can hide the original name of the controller and action method so that end users cannot view the name of the controller and action method. And to do that, we need to specify the alias names in the route now. You can change up these names, guys. Already said to you, attribute routing advantages, you can hide the names now. I want to make it as test. I want to change this as demo. Now, guys, home index won't work now. What works, sir? Test. Tell me the URL for the root. URL for the root is HTTP localhost port number. That's all. Now see, /home will not work. Why? You change it off. You're given alias name now. So shall I change it now? /test. Sir, /index will work? No, it won't. /index won't work. What should I give? Demo is what I should give. Okay, watch again. These are the URLs now. On the top of the controller, we write this. Now, this is same only, yaar. I changed here. This is same as the previous one. That's all. Root, this one. /test, this one. /test.demo, this one. The main advantage here is you can hide the actual names. We don't go for disclosing the names to user. Are you clear? Okay, next. Without hard coding controller name or action method names in attribute routes, we can use the concept of token replacement. For example, we can define the route for controller as follow. Route, it should be square brace controller. It's just a keyword. It means controller name will come there. What will come there? Controller name will come there. Means we don't specify it like this. Square brace. Okay. And here what you write? Controller. And here also square brace action. Square brace action. And is replaced with the controller name and replaced with the action method name. Run and see. These are called as placeholders, man. You know placeholders all day. How you use curly braces 0. Same way, it's a different style. See, root. /home. /index. All three working now. But now we are using what? Token replacement. The concept is called as a token replacement. You can observe. Simply controller here. Remaining URLs are same on. Is that clear? Okay. We can use a token replacement like this also, man. Directly on the top of that, you can read controller, action. Controller and action. Then these routes will change now. These routes will change. How, sir? I'll show you. /action. I'm getting error. The following exception occurred. What is the exception? Let's see on the screen. Could not recognize replacement value of the token action could not be found. It could not find the values correctly now. Okay. So that I'm telling you. Yeah. Now on the top of the action method, these patterns will change. Just a minute. Now, is the first one working or not? Let us see. Is the first one working or not? Let us see. The first one is for root, right? Root is working, man. Are you clear? So this is for the root. Okay. Next. /home. Not working. This is not working. Okay, now. So /home. How to specify? I'm writing home there. I'm writing home there. So first root is working. Okay. That home is not working. When I say /home, it's not working. So one thing is, this is not working. So I'll say index. We are trial and error. Which one works and which doesn't work? Let us see. That's it. Now also got the error. Now also I just got the error. But one thing is, this is working. I'm sorry. What is working? This is working. Root is working. So / indicates what? Root. Okay. /home. Home did not work. Now I'm trying what? /home. Okay. /home. Oh, this is working. What next? This is not working. Shall we try in the same style? How? /home /index. /home /index. Root works. /home works. It's a token replacement, man. This value will go and sit here, and this value will go and sit here. We are not specifying the names now. You need to write the names here. What you're telling? Controller name should come here. Action method name should come here. That's all we are telling now. So now this home will come and replace in the controller place. And when I say home /index, the home will come here and index will come here. So this is how you're required to define the routes. Okay, watch it carefully. So we are using both. Then the routes will be /home. Oh, I'm sorry. Even this also should work now. This also should work. What? Without giving /home /index. Why? Controller also, action also. Both should be there. So what is the controller? The controller is the current controller, home controller. Method, index. This also should work. Even without writing /home /index, it has to launch. Error occurred. It should work and /home. Yeah, I made a mistake. And the square brace here, separate square brace should come. That's the mistake. In the URL only I made the mistake. Here, separate and here, separate. Then this will work. You can watch. /home /index. Means, see, when you don't give anything, automatically it uses this pattern and the controller name will be substituted here and the action method name will be substituted here. And root means nothing is present. Then also calls this method. When you give /home, then also it calls this method. A little bit, when we use this token replacement here, it's a little bit confusing. Otherwise, the rest of all are fine. But here only we have some small confusion here. So controller name, that's a token replacement what we have. Okay. Next. route constraints. What is the route constraints? So basically, guys, what is this route constraints is we can define some conditions now. We can define some conditions. Like what conditions can I define? For example, you can just put some conditions on your means the value that is entered there should be a alphabet only. You are giving some value in this like route parameters here. You are passing some route values to it. Generally, when you pass route values, if you recollect yourself, when it is ID which type, man? Integer type. Oh, is ID integer type? Brainless. Any type. You did not specify the type there. Any type. Where did you specify integer? ID you said, that's all. Nah. Tomorrow ID can be integer also. ID can be string also. Go and check it out. I already explained in MVC 5 also. Once you passed integer, it works. String, it works. Anything. Whatever you want, you can accept it. But I want ID to be integer only. I want ID to be, or I want ID to be character. I want ID to be string. I can define my constraints on the code now. I can define my constraints on the code. How is it possible? Like this. See, we use this to restrict the browser request to match a particular route, and we can even use regular expression to specify the route constraint. Regular expressions also can be used here. I'll tell you how to use. Watch this. X:alpha is to tell only alphabets, upper or lowercase. Boolean values. Date and time. Decimal. Double. Float. Integer. Long. And see, in case of strings, I can tell maximum 10, that's all. More than 10 will not be accepted. Minimum 5, less than 5 will not be accepted. Minimum 10, maximum 50. Length. Length is basically like our max only. Okay. So accept a string with a specified length. Means you're required to tell the length correctly now. Next. Minimum 1, maximum 1. Maximum length. Maximum length is nothing but max only here. Max 10 or max length same. Min length is same as min here. I can also use my regular expression. This is a regular expression what I'm just using. I'll show you all practically how to use it. Okay. Well, guys, first to do all these particular things, I am just going to change the route pattern. Here I'll say controller. With the token replacement, controller name will come there. Are you clear? It is a token replacement. What will come? Controller name will come. Now, to test the remaining, let us go for writing different methods. And one thing I want to tell you, here for rest of the methods, root won't be there, home won't be there. Only controller name, action method, both should be there. That's all. These two will not work now. This is only for one method. See, for first method only, the flexibility of root access and controller name access. Rest of all methods have one URL only. What? Controller name, action method. For first method only, we just got the flexibility. Rest of all methods should be accessed only by single request only, multiple request. For first method, 3 options are there. What are the options? Root, /home, /home/index. But remaining all methods, /home, /name of the action method. So we don't require to bother about three things now. Only one only. Is it clear? Okay. Guys, I'm writing a method. What is the method? This is the method I'm writing. Int ID. Okay. Now the integer value ID, the ID what is coming here should be integer. Should be integer. Now I can define my route constraint on the code now. How do I define? What is the method name? Okay, guys, watch it. Display 1, ID. If I leave it like this, remember a point. If I leave it like this, optional or mandatory? This is optional. Am I correct? But when you come to the method, it is mandatory or optional? It is mandatory. So let us see what happens here. Run. slash home slash display one, slash home slash display one. I'm not passing a value. I'm not passing a value. Oh, working now. Why? Array, this ID has a default integer, default value 0 now. The ID has the default value 0. You know, every integer has a default value. Default value is 0. That 0 is coming here and executing of the code. Are you clear? Yes or not? So once I say question mark here, mandatory or optional? Optional means if you don't pass also no problem. Can I pass? Slash 100. The value 100 comes. The value 100 comes. This one also I shown you earlier in your conventional routing only. Check your old method. One day I fully focused on these particular method calls only to you. Okay. Next. The next example is, look guys. See, display one. Is this call valid? Come on, answer. What about this? Valid. What about this? Come on, you tell me, I'll show you. Valid or invalid? Invalid. This one. Invalid. This one. This one. Invalid. Okay. All these are invalid options. Let's try in our browser. So I'm just writing hello. You said invalid. It is working, man. It's working. 34.56. Working, see? That is only the problem now. What is it? That's a type object here. That is a type object. So that object value, what is coming here? Now ID is not accepting the object value and it is not taking its default value now. But address did not restrict you this. But I want to restrict. I want to then use route constraint. Then use a route constraint. All of you observe it here. See, all these are valid calls only. All calls are valid. Why, sir? Because in the above case, we defined ID question mark as a route parameter. And it is optional. So if we do not pass a value to ID, or if we pass a different value data type, it will not raise any error, but ID value will be 0. Whereas if we want the parameter value to be an integer or any other particular data type, or if you want to apply any other restrictions on the action method parameters, we use route constraint. We should use route constraints. We should use route constraints. Yeah. Have a look how to use the route constraint. Guys, observe. I'm writing the same method. Now I'll tell it as display 2. Now I'm giving the route pattern, same like the previous display 2. But now I'm applying a constraint on this code now. Are you clear? Colon int. Colon int. Are you clearer or not? Okay, colon int. And also I'm removing the optional option there. So ID should be integer. ID should be a integer. Sir, what happens if I try with a non-integer value? Let us see what happens. What is the method name, guys? Home slash display 2 error. Okay. Slash 1 valid. Slash 1 is valid. Slash A error. Hello invalid. 23.45 invalid. If I put a question mark here, sir, if I put question mark here, what happens? Let us see. Slash home slash display to, and then I'm just going to pass the value 10. It is telling you, you cannot use a question mark is invalid. The route parameter name ID is invalid. Why? Once you specify it is integer type, you cannot again say it is null. You cannot again say it is nullable. That's not valid. Compulsory and integer is mandatory there. Compulsory integer is a mandatory thing. And you guys observe, how did I write the code now? Are you clear? Okay. And come below and see. In the above case, we need to call the display to action method by explicitly passing an integer value only. By passing an integer value only. Whereas if I try to pass any other type of values, or if we do not pass a value, we get error. We get error. Are you clear? Okay, look. Okay, now? So how to make it nullable, guys? ID question mark is not allowed now. Yes or not? This is how you should write. Arey, Elia, no data type. Yeah, that's ID question mark will work. Now data type is there. Now question mark should be beside the data type, not beside the parameter. So what is it? Int question mark. So will this work? Let us see. Slash home slash display to. Working. Just I defined another method for you there, but I given a different data type there. That's it. Have a look. Same only. Double question mark. Now pass a value, it executes. If you don't pass a value, it tells you, but only double value. Okay, answer me now. What is valid? Let us see. Slash home slash display 3. Valida, invalida. Louder, faster. Valid. Okay. Slash 10. Valida, invalida. Louder. Converted invalid. Why here? Double. Int can be converted to double. Nah. You can convert integer to double. Nah. Valid. 23.45. Valid. A. Valida, invalida. Invalid. It is invalid. Hello. All are invalid now. Have a look. Valid, valid, valid. Error. All these three are errors. Yeah. If you want to call the above method without passing a value, make int as nullable int question mark. For this only I said you. Okay. And for that, I given you a separate example. A separate example I given you again to make you understand this one. In the above method, ID parameter is defined to accept a double value. So we can pass an integer or double also as following. Integer also can be passed here. Double also can be passed over there. Both will work. Okay, now next one is min. The next option is min. Look, guys, int ID. Minimum is 50. Maximum, no limit. There is no maximum limit here. Now tell me. Slash home slash display 4. I'm not passing any value. Come on, yeah, you're nodding your head. Tell me, valida, invalida? Invalid. I'm passing a value 10. Valida, invalida? Invalid. I'm passing the value 50. Valid. Passing 100. Valid. 49. 49 is invalid. Above 49 from 50, any value is valid now. So guys, have a look. Error. 49, error. 50, valid. 51, valid. So the minimum is 50 now. Is it clear? Yeah. Next option, max. Next option is max. Display 5. So what is the max value? Slash home. Valid or invalid? Invalid. Invalid. Slash 99. Valid. 100. Valid. 101. Invalid. The max is 101 now. Sorry, max is 100 now. Okay, you can see. No value error. 99, valid. 100, 101, 0, minus 10. Minus 10 is also valid only. Why? The maximum is 100, less than 100, anything is accepted now. 0 is also valid. 10 is also, minus 10 is also valid. Okay, because that is all less than 100 only. Okay, now? Next, range. You can give a range of values, guys, now. You can give a range of values. What is the minimum? Maximum? Anything between 51 to 100 only. Less than 51, more than 101, not valid. Method name? Display 6, without passing a value. Invalid. Slash 50. Invalid. 51. Valid. 100. Valid. 101. 0. Invalid. Why? 0 is not within the range of 51 to 100. Earlier you said max value, so that's why minimum is anything. But here you are restricting the min also. Min is 51 and max is 100. You can observe. No value error. 50 error. 51 valid. 100 valid. 101 is an error. Okay. Next. Basically, this length is used on string types here. The length is used on string types. Basically, for string types, we just use the length attribute there. What is the length? 5. 5 should be the length. Display 7, right? Slash home, slash display 7. Valid or invalid? Invalid. I'm giving A, invalid. Sorry, guys. A, invalid. B, C, D, invalid. A, B, C, D, E, D, invalid. 5. Length is 5. Length should be 5. Not less than 5 or more than 5. 5. Fixed length. That is going to be a fixed length. 5. Okay, you watch. ABCD is an error. No value error. ABCD is valid. Again, F is, I'm giving false. Valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Valid. Why? Numbers na. Number can be converted to string na. Booleans, numbers can be converted to strings. No problem now. That's when I get false there. It works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It works. All these things are going to work now. Is that clear? Okay. So that's the next one. You're giving a range of length characters now. What's it? Minimum length 3, maximum length is 10. Slash home, slash index 8. Oh, sorry. Display 8. Sorry. Display 8. Valid, invalid? Invalid. Okay. And watch AB. Wrong. I just required to pass some name now. Valid. Okay. Anything within that range is going to be valid. David Warner. Valid, invalid? Invalid. Why? 11 characters. It's going to be 11 characters. Entering my name there. Valid, invalid? Valid. Why? 10 characters. So minimum 3, maximum 10. The minimum length is 3 and the maximum length is going to be 10 here. See, no passing a value. Error. AB. All these are valid now. Again, these are minimum 3, maximum 10. Okay, next. Minimum length 3. What is minimum length 3? Array, minimum length 3 means no limitation for max length now. Minimum length should be 3. For maximum, there is unlimited value now. In regular expressions, 3, comma. Array, in regular expressions, 3, comma. Minimum 3. Maximum, no size limitation now. Slash home, slash display 9, no value, error. AB, error. Now any name from these characters. See, now I'm giving David Warner is valid now. It's valid now. 11 characters also is going to be valid in this case. Spaces also are valid. Okay. Why? The maximum it is going to count based on the things now. Now you see there. You can watch. No value error. AB, 2 characters error, and remaining all are going to be valid. What next? Max length. Means minimum length, no condition now. Now it is the max length. Means what is that meaning? Minimum length doesn't have any condition now. So you have a condition check only for the max length in this context. Yeah, watch. Slash home, slash display 10, slash no value, guys. No value is giving error. Slash A, valid. Okay. So now David Warner is in error now. 11 characters. It's going to be 11 characters. So valid, accept valid is only up to 10. Up to 10 is the maximum rate. Just reverse for the previous one. That's all. So no values in error. 2 characters is valid. 3 characters, 10 characters, 11 is again error. Next, alpha. What is this? It accepts only alphabets now. It accepts only alphabets in this context. What is that? Let's run and see. Slash home, slash display 11. No value. Error. I'm passing a value A. Valid, guys. I'm passing a value 10. Error. Passing a value true. Valid or invalid? Valid. Why? Alphabets only, na? 34 point something. Invalid. What it accepts is only alphabets now. Only alphabet. Generally, booleans and characters, decimals can be converted to strings, but still when I say alpha, it won't accept. It's not going to accept that now. Okay. Will it accept spaces? Not accepting space also. Only alphabets. You clearly mentioned it as only alphabets. So spaces are also not accepted in this context. Okay. Yeah. You can see what it accepts is only alphabets. Only the alphabets. No value error. Name is going to retrieve number, decimal, but a Boolean is going to be valid because that is again going to be an alphabet only. No issues with that. Next. See there. Only Booleans now. Flag. Bool. Flag should be of type Boolean now. Okay. Let us see. Slash home. Display 12. 12. 12. No value. Error. Slash 10. Error. Slash 1. Not working. Error. Error. True. And false. Spelling mistake. Valid. These two are valid now. So you can look. No value error. True is valid. Hello. Again, all these are invalid. What is it? True or false? Okay. Now you can use regular expressions also in the code now. You can even use regular expressions in your code now. Regular expressions are. I want to take Aadhaar number, guys. Phone number. Which data type will you use in the database? Phone number. Which data type will you use in your database? String, yeah. String. Phone number should be string. Why? Sometimes there is a chance to have +91. And when you're entering a mobile number, 5-digit space 5, or if the integer, they don't accept a string. Phone number is string. Aadhaar number, string. Credit card number, strings. They're not integers. Generally, we'll contain only integer values. We'll contain integer values, but you should take them as strings in the database. When you're creating the database table, be careful. Wherever you come across phone numbers, Aadhaar numbers, landline numbers, in all the places, use strings. Don't use integers or long derivatives. Clear? Sir, but how to validate? Array, you can use your client-side validations and do that validation. That's not the problem. But when you're saving only, save them as strings. Okay? Well, now you guys watch it. I want to take the Aadhaar number from the user. And this Aadhaar number should follow a format. What format? 4 digits space, 4 digits space, 4 digits. Correct or not? So I want to define that format, and I can do that by using regex. Regular expression. Watch it. How to write Aadhaar? What? Regex. Just like a min max, now you have regex. And here you're required to specify your expression now. And do you remember what is this? Starting of the expression. What is this? Ending of the expression. And what will this tell you? 4 digits, 4 digits, 4 digits. And there should be a hyphen. There should be a hyphen between all the appropriate values. If you don't want a hyphen, use space there, your choice. Okay. And now you observe. Slash home, display 13, no value, error. Now I'm passing 1, 2, 3, 4 space something, and I'm just passing some values here. Error. Why? Ask for a hyphen. We want a hyphen there. Okay. I'm not giving spaces also. Error. Compulsory should be some spaces. Yeah. 20 is the space. Working now. Okay. 90122. 5 numbers. Invalid. Why? Ours is a rigid expression. Remember, rigid expression. Remember rigid expression? Start with a caret and with a dollar. That's called a rigid expression. We learned already in our earlier days. Okay. It's a rigid expression. So more than that and less than that, nothing is going to be accepted. Compulsory. You should follow the rigidity here. See there. This is valid. Remaining all are invalid. Remaining all are invalid there. Watch. You can have multiple parameters also, guys. ID name. So ID and name. Are all single I shown you. If you want double, you can just use double parameter list also in this case. ID and name. How to call? Slash home, index 14, display 14. Display 14. I'm giving 101 some name. Valid. Okay, I'm giving only 101. Valid. It's invalid now. I'm not giving any value. Invalid. It's going to be invalid. Okay. So guys, error, error, valid, error. You cannot change the sequence also now. You cannot change the sequence. That sequence also is important in this scenario now. Am I clear? Okay. So this is how you can just go for using the route constraints on your code now. So I just explained you all the different varieties of routes that can be used in your application now. Can I have a look? We started with alpha, bool. Date time is not sure. You can try date time also. Decimal, double, float, int, long. Max has shown you, min has shown you, range, length, range, max length, min length, and also regex. And also the regex. All these are the route constraints what we have. Okay. Okay. So we learned about two things today. What's it? One is how to create a MVC project. So basically, I just opened you what? I just opened you a empty project. I just opened you an empty project, and I just shown you how to convert this into an MVC project. Three changes. What I shown you. First change, we need to call add with controllers in the configure services. Next, use static files in configure. Next, you are also required to set the route pattern. You also required to set the route pattern. All these three things should be done. The route pattern should be set up perfectly. And once you set up the route pattern, everything starts working for you now. Once you set up the route pattern, everything starts working for you as expected. Okay, then you'll add the controllers, views, everything. Okay. So now we add the controller. Under that, we just discussed about two different types of routings. What are the two? One is the conventional routing, and the second one is a conventional routing. We have already learned about this conventional routing in our MVC 5. What I showed you right now is only about newly. If you want to try, you can try this attribute routing in your MVC 5 also. It works as it is. You can try there. All this code you put there also it works. But go and change in the route config.cs file. Okay. What is the next stage? UI creation, view creation. You know how to create views. If you want to create views, we have multiple options for creating views now. One, in MVC 5, tell me what options you have. HTML controls. Tag, and second one, HTML helpers. Array, HTML controls, HTML helpers. Under HTML helpers, two options again. Normal HTML helpers, strongly typed HTML helper. But HTML, both are HTML helpers only. So two options are there. You know both now? Yes or not? Which one is easy? Strongly typed, some simple coding we write. But we don't use HTML. We don't use HTML. Fine. Now you have three options, guys. You have three options now. What are three options again, sir? The first one, HTML controls. You know that. Second one, HTML helpers. Third one is tag helpers. What are the tag helpers? Microsoft actually in the .NET Core, it made view creation still simple. It made the view creation still simple. What is it? I want to create a text box. I want to create a text box here in HTML. How do you write? Type is equals to text. ID is equals to txt name. Name is equals to txt name. Is how you are going to create. Clear? Or otherwise simply we'll say name. We'll say name. This is how you are just going to create a text box. Fine. Now, name is basically later on when you're reading the value in the action method. The action method parameter also should be name now. The action method parameter also should be name. And will the model binding happen here? No, model binding will not happen. There's no model binding here. Only thing is, if the action method is having a parameter called name, this name will go and sit there. That's it. But model binding will not happen. How do you create this in your helpers, HTML helpers? @HTML dot text box, text box for, and suppose you have a model. You have a model. Suppose it refers to an employee. Suppose let us say it refers to him. Or it refers to user. It refers to user. What? U lambda expression. U dot name. Correct now? Guys, I want to use bootstrap in this code now. I want to use bootstrap here. If you want to use bootstrap, how do you write? Comma. We can use the bootstrap here. How? New of class is equals to the bootstrap class name. Okay, suppose I'm writing like primary. Otherwise, text hyphen primary is a bootstrap class I'm using. Here, simple, na? Class is equals to, see, understand here, in some cases, writing HTML styling is easy, and some scenarios, writing this is easy. When I use a bootstrap, new off, open the curly braces, have multiple attributes, put a comma. If I want to write a style there, it'll become a little bit confusing syntax wise. If I want to use a placeholder, I should at the rate placeholder. Class also cannot use class directly. At the rate class. If I want to use read only, at the rate read only. But there simply, if you want to make it read only, what do you say? That's all. But here, if you want to use read only, at the rate read only is equals to, yeah, we should write. Are you clear? Some people feel HTML is simple of writing the code. Some people, when you're used to, then we find, okay, second one is also fine. But suppose I don't know C# at all. I am a HTML developer. I don't know C#. I don't know C#. Then how do I understand these model bindings? I'm not going to write any controllers and all. I'm a view designer. I'm a UI designer. I am just a UI designer. For a UI designer, how do the UI designer know this code now? Yes or not? So if you're a UI designer and in MVC, that will become a big headache for you to create the views now. Provided you are just a UI, you are a C# developer, you can do that. But you are just a UI designer, this looks all confusing for you. So to overcome this particular problem, to make it comfortable for C# developers as well as UI developers also, what did Microsoft do is, they just used our regular C# code, regular HTML code only for designing the views now. Means we are back to our regular code. We are back to our regular code. But sir, model binding is not possible there. So what is the problem here? Model binding is not possible. So they added you some special attributes to you. ASP-for, and you can do the model binding now. Model binding is over. So this works with model binding also now. Are you getting my point here? This works with model binding also. What is the drawback here? Model binding will not work. If you want to use model binding compulsory, this is the code I should write. But now your regular HTML code only, and you can add model binding also now by using not only one, like this, different attributes are given. One example to you, that's all. ASP for this will do the model binding. And see, this is easier. This is easier. See here, they made this much simpler now. No need to write U, lambda expression, all the nonsense is not there. Simply ASP for what is the model property? Name, finish. Model binding will work. So now a regular UI designer can also work now. Why? What he has to know is the model property name, that's all. He don't require to know bother about the syntaxes now. See here, he has to bother about syntaxes, new of, all this. What is this anonymous type, lambda expression is confusing for him. But here, what is the confusion here? An attribute with a value, that's all. ASP-for. So to make it more comfortable for UI designers in .NET Core, UI creation was changed completely with the help of a new concept called as tag helpers. We are going to use tag helpers here. Suppose I have two submit buttons on the screen now. Two submit buttons. One submit button should submit the page to one place. One submit button should submit the place to another place now. And you remember I said you use two form tags. Use two separate form tags. I shown you it also currently. Other option, use hyperlinks. Use hyperlinks. But two buttons cannot be used. One button, one hyperlink, or all hyperlinks. Are you clear? But now you can use buttons only with a single form tag. Now you can use buttons only with a single form tag. No need two form tags also. New options came now. What? ASP-controller, ASP-action. You can specify the controller name you want to invoke. You can specify the action method you want to invoke. Just like hyperlinks you write now, buttons also have that facility now. Earlier we have that facility only for hyperlinks. For buttons we don't have. But now you have that facility for buttons. I have 10 buttons. The 10 buttons should invoke 10 separate action methods. I can now use submit buttons and invoke separate action methods now. That is also possible. Lot of new features, lot of new features. And one major problem with images, do you remember? What is that? Tomorrow I changed the image, but I changed the image here. Name is same. I changed the image in the code, but still the caching problem, old images will come. To do that, always I used to refresh or completely clear the cache and load you. That problems are also are addressed here. Means you don't require to clear the cache, nothing required. All the major problems what we generally facing, for all those things, they're given solutions and answers here, and made UI designing much more simple and easier without using helpers. Miss, can't I use helpers here? You can use helpers also. You can use, that's why I said you 3 options are there for you now. What are the 3 options? Regular HTML controls can be used. You know that. I'm not going to talk again. Helpers can be used. You know that. So what we're required to learn is only tag helpers. No HTML helpers anymore. What we have? Tag helpers. So 3 options: HTML controls, HTML helpers, tag helpers. Under HTML helpers, for our headache, 2 separate things are there. Normal HTML helpers, strongly typed HTML helper. Now nothing, simple, only one, tag helpers. Going forward, all our view creation is done with the tag helpers. It will be regular HTML code, so that tomorrow UI designers also finds it easy for styling or applying bootstraps. Means basic raw code if I write off, UI designer will take up styling now. Site styling I don't do. When I create a site, I will do only raw code, that's all. I'll place a text box like this, I'll do all the things. Later on, I'll send the page to UI designer. UI designer will add all the styling code now. Now it will become easy for him to add the style code, because this is regular HTML code only, no difference or nothing. We have some extra attributes, that's all, but code is normal HTML code. Are you clear with the advantage here? We'll see how to work with the tag helpers from tomorrow. Let's stop here.